Thank you so much. And to say the Conduit has been a small part of our journey is, a huge underestimation. It's been an incredible journey that we've been on since it opened, and it's enabled and opened so many doors and enabled us to do rather than just talk all the time. So today it's been amazing to hear the discussions, and I've got the very daunting task of wrapping it up. But some reflections just quickly from me are that the voice of the person is coming through, but maybe can also even be elevated. Oh, just a little lower. Yeah. Still probably can go down. Thank you. Sorry. So the voice of the human has come through, but maybe has room for even more amplification. So I have been now, over the last 7 years, with Charlie, who we started on this journey together, to a number of these events and a number of summits. We started as frustrating 20-somethings, and we became angry, having met people in Calais, in Lesbos, who we saw experiencing the very worst of humanity and treated with such awful ways, and we felt so angry and unjust that we did want to do something. Refugee was founded in 2015 with that ethos. We had been in Greece, and we went out there with no experience of working in a humanitarian setting, with no understanding of what it meant to be a charity or a non-profit or customs processes and taking over loads of medication into another EU country. We didn't have that understanding that we were going there even to do anything long term. We just went as people who'd seen headlines, who'd seen the image of Aylan Kurdi, people who had heard stories of what was taking place just on our doorstep and wanted to help. And to this day, even though we formed organisations, I do think it's the vein of a lot of us that we are just still treating it as people frustrated and angry and hurting alongside what we are seeing. When we were in Greece, we thought it would all be okay when the big NGOs got there, when the EU mobilised. We were meeting families day after day who were telling us the stories of the horrors that they were fleeing. And we were hearing resoundingly again and again that people just wanted somewhere safe and private to live, to be able to put their children into school and to be able to work towards their dreams, their hopes, their ambitions, and provide for their families whilst they did so. Things I think every single person in this room can relate to, things I think every single person wants. Yet, when we saw the large NGOs of this world mobilise, when we saw governments start to act, we were horrified to watch as that action was to create tented refugee camps, to force people into dependency, to remove the individual approach from the stories that we were seeing, and to create what we have now seen as camps throughout Europe. Sadly, some of the families we met in those situations nearly 10 years ago are still living in refugee camps and still in the similar situations. When we began our work in the UK, we were determined that our support would be individualised, that would focus on the person, because there is not any one-size-fits-all approach. We strongly believe that the only way to sustainably and successfully provide the support that people need is to listen to people's hopes, dreams, and ambitions and act accordingly. Refugees, and I can't even stress how important it is just to take this away from today, if you're sitting here without lived experience, but refugees are not a homogenous group of people, and the solution will not be one size fits all. Over 100 million people are displaced. There are only 15 countries in this world that have a population of more than 100 million. We would never assume to know what 100 million people in China or Indonesia or the USA are aiming to do and that we had the answer. And it is only by listening to individuals and acting in a way that does so that we are going to get there. Providing individual support in a way that is scalable is incredibly challenging. It takes longer, it costs more money in many cases. But the impact is bigger. The cost-benefit is bigger. It's not impossible. And to start is to treat a person as a person behind the label of what legal status they may or may not have. Refugee now runs a language program nationwide, and in 2017 we launched the first interest-free loan program for refugees. We did so because we were people who were helping people who needed cash, and it really was as simple as that. We didn't have enough. The loans have largely been to support people to cover the cost of reaccreditation in order to return to work. We met neurosurgeons, we met students, we met engineers, all of whom were working underemployed or unemployed and desperate to get themselves out of doing so, but lacked the available finance in order to. So we called around, we asked the network of the Conduit, we Googled a lot. We found people who could build for us a loans program that was compliant, that does all the necessary due diligence, NatWest, and also enables us to lend to people for what they need. Loans are up to £10,000, they're interest-free, and we do assess them. We assess people based on their character. We listen to where they want to be, what they want to do, and we listen to how money is needed to get people there, and we act accordingly. We only turn down 13% of loans, and that's because we work with a network of incredible organisations, including our own language programme, who refer people to us, who they trust, who they've worked with, and who they know just need a little bit of money in order to get back on their feet. Character-based applications mean we don't need to rely on credit scores, which are vastly overrated, or worry that people don't have 3 years fixed address. We understand the person and we get to know them, their situation, their hopes, their dreams, and why they need money and how it will help them and make the decision accordingly. Since the loans launched, we lent over £2.5 million. When we were in that stage, when the Conduit was founding, we sat in a lot of boardrooms where we were laughed at. Maybe because we were two women with no experience trying to raise lots of money to give to people and saying we think they'll give it back to us, but also because there are preconceived notions about the people who we wanted to lend that money to. We've lent over 2.5 million, our repayment rate is over 96%. It's not me, I don't pay them back. My credit score's appalling. We did this for a few years without getting paid. This character-based approach has ensured our loan repayment has stayed at over 96, and the success of the programme is absolutely down to the ability to mould the product to the person and what they need. In 2019, we began looking at employment solutions for those we were supporting. We realised that money wasn't just enough, sadly. As Mohib, my colleague, mentioned, doctors were getting requalified, and then we were finding they were out of work in the middle of a global pandemic. Engineers were qualifying and weren't able to find work, even though we were hearing every single day about the shortages. And so we decided to partner with some prominent employers to find out why and to see if there was anything we could do about it. We partnered with people such as PwC, BP, Kia Engineering, and over 50 others with hugely mixed results. The employers who understood that they had a problem, that it was them that needed to change and mould in terms of their hiring practices, have thrived with us. They've understood that systemically something isn't working in their organisation that enables them to look past a gap on a CV, to look past a lack of UK experience, and that they shouldn't be relying on outdated HR systems and computer processes to really evaluate someone's potential in their workplace. The employers who pledged big numbers, it didn't work. It doesn't work. I know that there is a lot of speak in the media about hiring 1,000 refugees, about hiring 5,000 refugees, and if you've got 5,000 vacancies that you need to fill, then you're just looking to hire 5,000 people for 5,000 vacancies. And really, you should be analysing why your own hiring practices aren't letting those people through, aren't helping, and it is not needed to create parallel systems within businesses that already have huge HR teams. When parallel systems were created, we found that the bias and the unconscious bias and some of the prejudice around hiring refugees has actually prevented, as we've heard from people with lived experience today, people gaining those jobs. People gaining jobs as though they were vastly underemployed, or being told, and this has happened to us, that you can apply for the jobs that we give you as a refugee charity, but your clients may not apply for the open vacancies we have on the website. Too often that we hear that the application can't progress due to a gap on a CV, even though at C-suite level they would have donated money to RefuAid or other organisations, and it would have filtered down. Too often we hear that the hiring manager, who is just an entry-level person working on recruitment, is not able to progress an application for someone with no relevant UK experience. What employers need to understand is that gaps most often resemble a time when a person has been fleeing for their life. The resilience and the drive that someone has to show to go through that and then start again in a new country, and what that might mean for their business. That the overseas experience that they have brings a depth of understanding to how their business may fit into a global context and is a commercial asset. But without a conversation, without an employer meeting those people, without understanding and hearing that story, we do just get computer says no. We have to look past the label of refugee, and we have to stop relying upon these huge pledges and one size fits all. We have to see each other as people. If we truly want to create long-lasting, sustainable change and provide equal opportunities for those arriving. As we look forward from today, Let us remember that the foundations of any solutions must respect individuality and an unwavering belief in the potential that we all hold. It is not just enough to support, to pledge. We must empower and we must do. We must look at a person as just that, a person. We must listen to their stories. We must listen to their hopes, their dreams, and act accordingly. Let us continue to innovate, to partner, and to champion the cause of those who have shown us time and time again the true resilience of the human spirit. Thank you very, very much.